Good evening. I'm Robo, your host for the time being.
Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gents, one of these days we'll be returning to our regularly scheduled program as soon as motivation quits killing our audience and our inspiration. Today, however, is not that day. You see, over the past few months, I have gotten the absolute pleasure of stepping my foot in the door of what is the Dungeons and Dragons community for quite some time now, actually, a little over half a year, if I'm not mistaken, and it's been absolutely amazing. I want to make a point of talking a bit more about this because it's not only something I care about, not only something that includes the people I care about, but it's such a creative, like the fact that I can put a Russian man in a tavern screaming about goats and be like, nope, he's actually really important to the lore, gives me a power that is far too close to that of God. Anyway, I was fiddling about on the piano as most pianists do, and well, I don't know a lick of theory or composition style for that matter, as you will soon see. I thought, hey, I don't like having free time. It sucks. And I ended up writing 4 little motifs, so to speak, of little themes for each of my players' characters. And I thought, what better place to pop them so that my players can see them and so that I can sort of honor them and thank them for enduring me, than by putting them up on the old silver screen, huh? Anyways, without further ado, I'll be giving a little bit of my inspirations and any thoughts about the characters that sort of drove the music, and you, ladies and gents, are going to get to enjoy not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 little motifs on this fine evening. So, nothing too special, I just, thought I'd put it out there. And I'm gonna cut myself off before I feel more self-conscious, so without further ado, let's jump right in with Santria. Santria is a water genasi cleric. She is definitely the most maternal sort of morality-keeping, mature person in the group, if I had to choose one. Worshipping the goddess Paxima, she definitely values peace both morally and religiously, as Paxima is the goddess of peace. Made her myself, I know I'm insane. With that being said, she's always quick to heal a teammate, or heck, even a wandering trader. There's also the time she kept the group from joining an international crime ring that essentially equates to the modern version of the real-life mafia. So yeah, she's pretty cool. With that being said, of course, and as you'll hear with most of these, there's definitely a sort of minor twinge. The world therein is quite dark, and all of the characters have their own sort of inner things going on, as good characters do. However, given the fact that she's a water genasi, that right flowing hand you'll see here in a second definitely stuck out, and something about that C major 7th chord kind of struck me immediately, even if it kind of stands out a little bit. So yeah, enjoy. Ayla is next up. Ayla is an elvish monk, and she's definitely the fish out of water, especially with the group, as she quite literally stumbled into the party and joined them out of the goodness of their hearts. She's most definitely the least adventurous of the group. Questing isn't something written in her DNA. However, as the story has gone on and everyone's gotten closer, Ayla has almost sort of found like this excitement with the prospect of adventuring with these new people she can call friends. While she's definitely the most quiet, she's very curious to the point where she'll be the one silently solving a puzzle or a riddle while the rest of the party just argues about it. Which is quite funny from my perspective as a DM, maniacally laughing behind my little screen. Ayla's melody was the first thing that ever came to me before I even thought of doing this. I definitely tried to capture some sort of adventure, and I almost picture it as in a movie or something when a character is singing something magical for the first time ever in their life. That sort of curiosity and just excitement was something I tried to capture, but very simply. Lastly, I tried to capture that timidness of her character, especially as the song tries to crescendo. The way it'll resolve into sort of a happier tone, it's almost representative of the fact that this group has taken in Ayla as one of their party members, which as a DM I just found super heartwarming. Frazer. Frazer is our human fighter. He is 6 foot something. He's got shoulders the width of a doorway, muscle groups the size of a small child. He is just this hulking beast of a man. He is the party's tank, blood and steel running through his veins, nothing but fire and the passion of battle. He is an absolute teddy bear. Frazer is not the sharpest tool in the shed, but he adores meeting new people. He's like ridiculously nice. And he's just an absolutely lovely gentleman. Frazer is one of, if not the most genuine in the party. He does things because he wants to do them and because he thinks it'll help others. Although sometimes he can get sidetracked with things like mushrooms, he tries to keep his best intentions at heart, even if sometimes he can be a little bit naive. And that naivete can actually be kind of a burden to him, along with his hulking mass and his proficiency in battle and with nearly any weapon you can point out. And it's actually quite sad because Frazer is the guy that he is. He intimidates most, and some people struggle to approach him or see him as more than this bloodthirsty monster, which he can kind of become whenever he gets into battle swinging a great sword around. And I really tried to go for that sort of knight in shining armor thing at the very beginning of the song and go a bit more emotional with it, actually, which is kind of ironic given the dullness of Frazer. But no, I actually quite like what I did with this one. I tried to show the brief sort of tenderness that Frazer actually is, and then quickly contrast it with the hard exterior that he presents himself as, and that, quite frankly, keeps his party alive. Lastly but not least is Grug, our druid ranger. He's a charming little gnome. He's an older fella, so he's almost disillusioned with the world around him. He doesn't react to things that would seem strange to others, which is actually quite funny. He's got that old man sort of wisdom to him. He definitely has the most major theme out of all of the 4 characters, simply because at this point in his life, there's not as much unrest, obviously, like the others. He's got his own inner demons going on, but at that age, you're kind of just living moment to moment, much like Grug is with his excitement and almost young spirit when it comes to things like adventure and showing off magic to the locals and transforming into animals for the entertainment of the party. He's a jolly fella. And that about does it. Thank you all very much for listening. The stuff I make is nowhere near professional, but I thought, I'd stand up in front of the class, show everyone what I made. But in all honesty, this was completely done for the wonderful people I get to call my friends, who put up with me DMing for them every once in a while and having to deal with whatever I come up with in my weird twisted brain. Thank you once more for your attendance. You've been a wonderful audience, and as always, good night.